So I've been kicking around Prince of Wales Island here for about a week now, trying to get into all kinds of trouble, shooting landscapes, shooting animals, tromping through the woods, stalking up and down beaches. And the man behind the camera that's been recording it all is my good pal, Charlie Ess, that you have undoubtedly seen on my channel before. Well, I think it's high time that I turn the tables on Charlie and point the camera at him, because he's been tasked with filming me all week. And frankly, I'm a little tired of being in front of the camera. I think I'm gonna make Charlie be the model for a little while, and we're gonna go do a bit of a lifestyle and portrait shoot. Come on, Charlie, let's go. What do you think, Charlie?
I think it's going to be great. The trees are bigger around than my waist. It's always good then. I think the thing that draws me to this island over and over again is the different biomes and how you can have all of those within a 2-hour drive. And even if you hike into the woods, you can pop out on a beach, which is kind of a grand big landscape. And you can get into the woods so tight you can't even turn around in it. And I think those are the elements that you can have. Plus the sky is always a big player here in Prince of Wales. And the weather is so moody that every 15 minutes you've got different light conditions, you've got different clouds, you've got light shafting in the big forest, you've got all these infinite variables and stuff to work with the camera. It's just amazing to shoot here. I think the magic starts when you can go a place that will allow you to go within yourself. And it is so quiet here that you hear your own heart beating. If you sit down long enough, there's some songbirds and there's some maybe a little bit of a breeze in the treetops, but often that dies out too and you're left with nothing but your own thoughts. It's kind of an unnerving thought at first if you haven't been around silence, but once it settles into you and you immerse yourself into it, it holds you captive, and it's a place you want to return to. It's a place where you can free think. You probably have thoughts that come here that you wouldn't have come somewhere else, even in your best writing studio or what a lot of people conventionally would use for a place to spurn their creativity. I think it inspires me because there's only 6,000 residents on it, and I forget how many umpteen square miles of real estate you have here, how many creeks, how many lakes, how many miles of coastline. And I think one of the things that inspires me most is humility and a place that takes me there. And this place leaves me feeling very humble. I'm a very small piece of this place when I'm on this island, and it lets me know it. It's a great place to come out and spend a few days, sit on a log, sit on a beach, drive the lonely roads, hike in the hills, and just see what it has to offer. And it gives you things that other places just won't give you in the line of how you think, how you approach life. Introspection, retrospection, you get it all in the same hour here under these trees. There's no cell coverage for most of the island, and for most of it, every square mile has so many places where you could break a leg, fall down into a big hole, and nobody'd ever hear you scream. This week, how many times have I almost fallen to some kind of trouble off a big stump, or where I thought there was solid ground under me, there was nothing, and I fell down some sort of an embankment or something. Yeah, like I say, it'll humble you very quickly. So many times we try to go for a picture, we jump out of the car, we're gonna go off the road ditch. Well, anywhere else in the United States, and even in Alaska, you can do that. But here, you always look over the side, and maybe you don't go there at all, and you start looking at things like, maybe there's a Devil's Club, but it's 20 feet down. Why is that? There's a hole there, that's why. There's a big gaping hole that'll eat you and break your legs, both of them. In the end, you live out your days, and I think that if you work at something you don't love in hopes that someday you can buy that passion, you better be careful, because life slips you by a decade at a time, 2 decades at a time, and you can wind up not achieving that dream. So I would always say dream big and live your life backwards. Think about what you want to do. How do you want to spend your day? For me, it's waking up to an empty sheet of paper. There's a challenge there. Something has to be on that paper at the end of the day. But I've learned to live with that, and I've learned that it allows me to be playful in my thinking, playful in my mind, explore, to ask the questions, what if? And I think that I have to make that jibe. How do you make money? How do you survive at that, to live in that atmosphere? And that takes years. It can take a lot of years, takes a lot of passion, takes a lot of rejection. And when you finally get there, sometimes you don't realize you're there. You have to look back and say, gosh, I've been a writer for 20 years, or 30 years, or 35 years, or I've been a filmmaker for 20 years, or I've been a photographer for 35 years, 40 years. I think that for anybody that wants to live a life where you're constantly inspired, you have to be respectful of the thing we call deadlines. Without deadlines, there's no real pressure to create anything. And without that, there's going to be no inspiration. So people say, well, I'll do this, or I'll get around to it when I feel inspired. As a creative, you have to be inspired, like that. Somebody needs something, they want a picture, they want an image, they want a thought, they want a story overnight. You have to be able to bring that up off that blank sheet of paper. And to have that sort of a mindset, you have to constantly feed it with creative activities. And so folks that I guess are embracing the idea of having a creative life, and you don't have a space to do that now, you just need 5 minutes a day to do something that allows your mind to open up. Maybe you walk in nature, but maybe you also create something. You sketch from it, you draw, you sing, you think of poetry, you think of words, or you go home and you paint something, or you bring your easel out and you paint something. You just have to do that, and what happens is it creates your mind, it's like a muscle memory thing, and it allows you to access that, and it broadens that out, so soon you have an hour where you can create things. And the other thing is, once you have the creative process down, you can do it. You don't have to be here in this beautiful place every time, because we can't always be here. But it allows you to access that place in your mind where you can generate something out of nothing every time, every single time. And you just got to put something down, look at it, revise it, try it again. But the thing is, you just got to take a shot at it and create something. You live with the uncertainty, and if everybody else is applauding your work, you're your own worst critic. And so you will still live with this margin of insecurity. And just because you have a nice picture at the end of a day, or something goes well at a magazine, or something sells and brings in some money, there's always this piece that says, what can I do better? What can I do better? And you wake up in the morning, you look at the light, you look at the blank page, you look at the blank computer screen, and you want 1,000 words on that screen at the end of a day, and they got to be good. And there's this sort of a editor always sitting on your shoulder, kind of watching over you, that you're trying to please. And I think that it's insatiable, and I think that drives a lot of us to keep writing for 30 years. You can make a career out of it, but if it's a passion, you won't stop at a career. You'll keep going and keep going and keep going. And I think that's a big piece of it. Nature inspires a lot, and if you can't get to nature, you have to think about nature, or get pictures of nature, watch nature videos, or something else. But there's always a space somewhere in your life where you have a place that you can do mind work. I think you have to work with your mind to access those places where it allows you to create things and find that fulfillment. And once you find that fulfillment, it begets that passion, and it's kind of a process that kind of feeds itself. I'm Charlie Ess. I'm a writer. I've been a magazine writer for more than 30 years publishing. I've written a book. I write poetry. I compose music. I make videos, I make films. I write fiction, and I draft out scripts. And that's a little bit of who I am.